My wife of 4 years is overteaching our kids, ages 2 and 4. Everything is either a learning experience or an opportunity to learn a skill. I feel like I'm living in a children's workbook and I can't anymore. No, my wife is not actually a teacher. Our kids are at the ages where they're becoming little people, and it's awesome. Our older son loves being a big brother, and the younger one is growing by leaps and bounds. Life is pretty good, except we can't go out of the house without it being a completely out of control learning experience or an opportunity for skill building. The best way to illustrate this is through examples. The other day, we're at the grocery store. The older boy is walking, the younger is in the shopping cart. We have like 10 or so things to buy. And there's my wife to our older son, who we'll call John, I guess. John, can you count how many items are in the cart? What line should we go in? Do we need to wait our turn? Is it our turn yet? Oh, look, it's our turn. What do we do with our things? No, we don't put them on the desk. That's not called a desk. It's called a check stand. Can you say that word, honey? Check stand. What's the person we pay called? Can you read his name? This thing is called a credit card. Do you know how it works? On and on and on and on. Everyone in that damn line was rolling their eyes and giving me sympathetic looks. Sometimes my wife will let the younger, Bill, help or be present during chores and meal prep or things like that. It's more of the same. Bill, this is a spoon. This is a knife. This is called a ladle. And this is what we do with it. This is a cup. These are noodles. We need to put them in water that's boiling. And you know water is boiling when you see bubbles to make them soft enough to eat. This is dish soap. It makes the dishes clean. He's 2, for God's sake. It's just everything is learned to death. The other night we were out for a walk and a little kitten darted across the street. Now, a normal parent might ask the kid what animal that was. If he says a cat or a kitten, she'd say, "Good job," and move on. John said it was a cat. My wife said, "Yes, it's a cat, but it's a baby cat." Do you know what a baby cat is called? Is a cat a mammal or a reptile? How do you know? How do mammals raise their young? Do all mammals have fur? I told her I was getting a headache. She could finish the walk with the kids and meet me at home. It wasn't a lie, really. Something similar happened at the fair, too. I'm not exaggerating when I say the kids never got to go on one ride and never got to eat one treat because they were so busy learning and building skills, and I can't even deal with that phrase anymore. It makes me want to scream. Anytime I bring it up, like, honey, just let them have fun. We can talk about what they learned on the way home. But this is such a great opportunity for them to build skills. They won't remember in 2 hours. If I want to get them a simple, stupid toy that's just for fun, like something they can throw around or a stuffed toy or something, nope. That doesn't help them build any skills. Or a ball is great for helping them build coordination skills. Everything in our lives is a learning experience. It's either skill building or we, the kids, never get to do the activity because we have to learn about it. I've talked to her. God knows I've talked to her. I've said it's great. She wants to give our kids such a head start and make sure they have good life skills for when they need them. But everything doesn't need to be a learning activity. They can't just color random designs on paper. They have to build skills. Then we have to go through the primary colors and learn about crayons and then do some skill building or enrichment activity. They can't just have fun. They can't just play. After the fair, I lost my chute that night. She was getting undressed and remarked how much fun the kids had. I am not proud to say I blew my stack. This was after at least 100 conversations with various approaches about this, and I ended up shouting, "No, they did not have fun. They didn't get to ride the Ferris wheel. They got a physics lesson. They didn't get to eat deep-fried anything. They got a nutrition lesson. They didn't get to play games. They got a counting lesson. They didn't get to try to win a goldfish. They got a zoology lesson. Nothing the kids did could possibly be considered fun in any universe. And now I'm an apathetic father, leaving her to do all the teaching when they're my kids too. I'm at the end of my rope. It's not like I never want them to have learning experiences. It's not like I never want them to do anything educational. But they need to just be kids sometimes too, and she thinks she's making learning fun when nothing is fun anymore. And I can't listen to any more of these buzzwords like skill building and enrichment and everything repeated 50 times to the kids, or I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind. Help me, Reddit. Now for the update. I didn't mean to completely abandon this post. I just had no idea it would blow up like it did. And by the time I got home from work, there were more comments than I could possibly answer. Thank you, everyone. To answer some questions I saw. The kids are bored to death. Bill, being only 2, isn't super verbal, obviously, but John has asked on more than one occasion why we can't do what we came for, basically. Using the fair again. He asked why he couldn't go on the kiddie Ferris wheel. My wife basically ignored him and just kept teaching. That's part of the reason why I was so mad that night. It seems much more about her than the kids' development at all. I talk to my sons a lot, or at least I try to. I can't really bring up anything without my wife coming in and teaching or suggesting we do something else to build some skills. I feel like she's actually getting in the way of my own relationship with my kids. I guess I had more to unpack about this than I thought. But on to the update. This couldn't have been timed any better if I'd planned it. So John is 4. We have him in a pre-K type class 3 days a week. The very day I made my post, I got a call from the teacher. She basically told me that John is a very smart little boy, that he seems to know a little bit about everything and has a great vocabulary and memory. But what she said next just about made me tear up and seriously consider a divorce. There have been several instances since the class started where John has been left to his own devices. They have some structured activities during the day and some semi-structured. Like times when the kids will be painting, but they're free to paint whatever and however they want. They also have some unstructured time where they're free to play with the toys in the classroom. Some are learning type toys. Some are just toys like the large Lego blocks, stuffed toys, balls, things like that. Well, the first time John was presented with watercolor paints and a blank piece of paper, he did nothing. The teacher blew it off as nervousness, since this is a lot of kids' first experience with being around a large number of peers away from home. She also noticed he didn't really play much with the other children. She tried to help him join in some of their games, but he didn't seem interested. She decided to call me after this incident. The class was given a box of metallic crayons and a black piece of construction paper. John did the same thing again. The teacher came over and asked him what he'd like to draw. He said he didn't know. She gave some suggestions, like his favorite cartoon character, if we have a cat or a dog to draw his pet. If we didn't, draw a cat or a dog he might like to have. Draw a space alien and a spaceship, and he still said he didn't know what to draw. After a few more suggestions from the teacher, John apparently looked at her and said, "I just don't know what skill I'm supposed to be learning." Like I said, I nearly broke down. I guess I never put it together. I should have, but I never did. And I'm as much at fault for that as my wife is for this whole thing. My sons have no social skills. They have no creativity. They have no imagination. They don't know that sometimes the purpose of fun is to have fun because they've never been exposed to it. I kind of hate myself for not extrapolating this. So basically, we're raising walking encyclopedias with no personality. They aren't actually building any skills at all. I have a feeling they'd learn to hold crayons and draw by the time they're old enough to leave the house. They'll also be able to count, cook a simple meal, and understand that a washing machine gets clothes clean. What they won't understand is the really important stuff. They won't make and learn from mistakes with friends. They won't be able to relate to kids their own ages. They won't understand what activities are appropriate and not appropriate when they get older and start doing things without us. They'll probably end up codependent because they'll always be waiting for someone else to tell them what to do. They'll be abuse magnets. I had to come to Jesus with my wife when she got home. I didn't let her call the teacher and tell her what's what. Instead, I told her that I'd called a family therapist, and if she wanted to stay married, we were also going to couples counseling. No ifs, ands, or buts on any of it. She needs to build some damn parenting skills, and I need to learn how to grasp the concept of if A, then B. I did not leave room for negotiation. I accept my fault in this. I was an only child myself. My parents were pretty hands-off for the most part, and I haven't really had a lot of occasion in my adult life to spend a great deal of time with young children or with other parents of young children. Just because I knew what was wrong, apparently didn't automatically teach me what was right. I also want us to go to parenting classes eventually, but that's at a different point, assuming we get through all the rest of this stuff. I want to thank everyone for their comments, and I'll be more attentive to this thread if there's anything else you'd like to know. Now for a few important comments. A commenter asked how the wife reacted to the Come to Jesus talk, and if she agrees there's a problem. They wished luck to the family. The original poster responded, "Truthfully, I didn't give her a chance to tell me there isn't a problem because there so very clearly is a problem. My words, as closely as I can remember, wife's name, we need to talk. I got a call from teacher about John today. There are some problems and we're both to blame. We've neglected his socializing and development as an individual as well as Bill's in favor of learning minutia about everything under the sun. I don't want to be an I told you so. And I'm not putting this all on you. But I also know I've tried to talk to you many, many times about not letting them live and experience things instead of turning everything into a book lesson. My part in this is I've done nothing to do anything differently because honestly, I've felt that's not an option. If you want to stay married, we're going to family and couples counseling because this problem involves all of us. And there's a problem in our marriage as well if I feel I can't speak up about how our kids are raised because I won't be heard. I've made an appointment for daytime with Dr. X. We'll give him 6 sessions to see how we feel about things unless there's an obvious mismatch. If we feel he's helpful, we'll continue to see him. If not, we'll look for another counselor together. In the meantime, we'll research couples counselors. I just felt getting help as a family and for the kids first was the priority. It's completely within your right to refuse, but then I likely won't be able to stay in this relationship. There really wasn't much she could say, and I deeply regret not putting my foot down about the constant pedantic teaching before it got to this point. The original poster added more information to a deleted comment. I'm sorry you feel my experience is fiction. Believe it or don't, that's entirely up to you. If my not including every single detail because my mind is still kind of jumbled about all this makes me a liar, well, I don't really know what to tell you. My wife's focus on activities for the kids is always, this will help you learn X, or Y is such an important skill to have. She also talks to me about skill-building activities for the kids when they're around. He's heard the word probably about as much as I have. He's simply repeating it and has made the association that activities adults have him do equals learning a skill. He helps in the store at the checkout because it helps him learn counting. He plays with letter magnets on the refrigerator because it helps him learn spelling. He paints because it helps him learn his colors. There's always a goal. So when an adult tells him to do something without specifying the ultimate goal, he's lost. He doesn't understand that he's doing it just to do it and enjoy it. When many kept asking for the wife's reaction, the original poster said, "She didn't really say anything. That's the truth. I've been more than a little spineless. Maybe she didn't know what to do when faced with me saying these are the rules," and then added, "Oh my God, what did you guys want me to do? Take a video of the conversation and post it on YouTube. Make the whole post about the position of her mouth and eyebrows, what she did with her hands, the way she was standing, her breathing, to prove I'm telling the truth. Why are you so hung up on this? Even if I were to do that, I'm sure you'd come back along and say, you said she raised an eyebrow. It's allergy season. Her eyes probably itch. You liar. This never happened." I mean, wow, listen to yourself. When I said she didn't have much of a reaction, I meant she didn't have much of a reaction. She went into our room and started reading a book. At what point did I say that I couldn't improve as well? That's half my damn post, if you'll go back and read. I have made mistakes in this too. I also didn't get a parenting manual. I have realized that while it was fairly clear to me that her approach wasn't working, I now realize that I didn't have a better one prepared. That's why she and I, her and me, the both of us, together as a couple, need to get into counseling. There, are you happy now? Or would you like me to flagellate myself? Am I the idiot for refusing to confront my cheating husband at his brother's wedding? I've been informed by a solicitor that my husband is having an affair. Yesterday morning, I was contacted by a solicitor. I was confused because I don't have any need for one for anything. She told me that her client is seeking a divorce from his wife due to the wife having an affair. Their investigator found the affair is with my husband, and the client asked the solicitor to inform me since my husband is married. She provided me with proof of the affair. My brother-in-law is to be married on Saturday. My husband is the best man and is already there to assist with everything. Me and my 5-month-old daughter were supposed to leave on Friday morning to join them. My husband is unaware that I know. I am shocked, but the proof is right in front of my eyes. I haven't told anyone, but I have asked my sister to come over after work. I'm going to ask if my daughter and I can stay with her. I don't think I can face him at the wedding. I don't want to hear excuses. My sister's husband is a solicitor, and while he does not do divorces, I'll ask if he can recommend someone. I have to talk to my sister, but I'm mostly just getting my thoughts out on here because I feel entirely scattered. Now for some comments. When asked if the solicitor who contacted her is a real and licensed person to inform her about the affair, she said, "Yes, of course. The solicitor who contacted me is a licensed solicitor. The proof was not photographic, but included videos, voicemails, and receipts. I would question a singular photo, but not this." The solicitor informed her she is not able to advise her or take her as a client due to conflict of interest, but will provide the information to her solicitor should she pursue a divorce. When asked about exposing her husband's affair and her excuse for not attending the BL's wedding, she said, "I think I'm going to tell him I was exposed to infection 19, so I have an excuse not to go. Then tell him I know on Sunday morning. I don't want to tell him before the wedding because his brother and his brother's girlfriend are lovely people, and I don't want anything to spoil their day, including my husband being upset while playing such a big role in their wedding. I would feel awful if I did that to them." She added, "He is giving a reading at the wedding, a speech at the reception, helping his brother prepare, and doing other duties to ensure it goes smoothly. I don't care how he feels, but I don't want his emotions to get in the way or spoil the day for the bride and groom. It's for their benefit, not his." When asked about not leaving the house, kicking the husband out, and transferring her money from their accounts to a new bank account, she replied, "We do not own a home. We rent a flat. Additionally, we must be separated for 2 out of the next 3 years in order to obtain a divorce. I will not be remaining in our flat. I can get my own once I am ready. If I emptied the accounts, I could be subject to trouble during the divorce process. That is not allowed." When asked if she knows anything about the other woman and if she knows about the divorce in progress, she said, "I have no idea who this other woman is. The solicitor who contacted me informed me that her client will be telling his wife about the divorce next week and told me to do what I needed, so I have time." Now for the 1-month update. I told my husband I had been exposed to infection 19 and could not attend the wedding. My sister helped pack, and she is letting me and my daughter stay with her until I find a flat. Someone I work with has a family member who has one up that I can afford that's available in January. When my husband returned home on the Monday, there was a note telling him I knew about the affair. The husband of the other woman was going to be filing for divorce later that week, and I would not be far behind. My sister's husband is a solicitor, and he recommended a divorce solicitor to me. My husband and I both have jobs. We don't own a home. At the advice of my solicitor, I opened a new bank account for myself, but I did not touch any of our joint accounts. I'm not stopping my husband from seeing our daughter, and my solicitor said the law will favor sharing of custody. Unless it is about our daughter, I told my husband to have his solicitor talk to mine. I won't discuss anything else with him. Once we have been separated for 2 years, we can get a divorce. My solicitor said there is no way to shorten the time requirement. Thank you to everyone who showed me kindness. Now for some comments. When asked about the country's laws for divorces and if there are any strict laws regarding infidelity, she said, Ireland. Divorce was not made legal in Ireland until 25 years ago. Before that, divorces were not allowed at all. Until 2019, a couple had to be separated for 4 years, not the 2 years it is now. Divorce is no fault. It also would not make a difference anyways, as we aren't wealthy, don't own a home or any significant assets, and are both employed. When asked about using an app to communicate with her soon-to-be ex-husband regarding co-parenting their daughter, she said, "That's what we are doing at the recommendation of both our solicitors. I have held firm on only discussing things related to our daughter. Anything else goes to our solicitors." Now for the 2-year update. Background. My husband had an affair. The other woman was also married. Her husband's solicitor informed me about the affair. I found out right before my husband's brother was to get married. I told everyone I was ill and stayed home. I moved in with my sister while my husband was away at the wedding. Our daughter was 5 months old when I found out about the affair. The update is that I am now divorced. I live in Ireland. It is a requirement that couples live apart for 2 years before they can be divorced. There are no exceptions under the law to this. It used to be 4 years, and up until 1998, divorce was not legal in Ireland at all. My daughter and I lived with my sister for almost 3 months before I moved us into our own flat. My husband and I did not own any property, and I legally had no authority to ask him to leave the flat we had while we were married. So I left instead. On the advice of my solicitor, I opened my own bank account and left our jointly owned accounts alone to be settled in the divorce. While we were living apart, my husband and I used an app to communicate about our daughter, and everything else was through our solicitors. I haven't talked to him about the affair. I haven't talked to his family or friends, and I don't have social media. My husband carried on seeing the other woman for several months after I moved out, so I'm sure everyone knows he had an affair. But that isn't my problem now. I only talk with him about our daughter and anything relating to her. We have joint custody, and I will pay him maintenance. Fault is not considered in a divorce, and an affair doesn't affect custody. I do not have to pay maintenance to my husband for himself, since he is already living with another woman, not the one he had an affair with, and plans to marry her right away now that we are divorced. If he had been living on his own and not about to get married, I would have had to pay him maintenance. I have never met the woman he had an affair with, or her husband, or their children. My focus is on my daughter, and I am civil with her father for her sake. But I don't care about looking on social media or talking to him about the affair. I have never talked to him about it and never will. I only care about my daughter. Apologies if my update isn't exciting. I am divorced. There is no drama, and I know that's usually not exciting. But some people have been messaging asking for an update, and I wanted to say thank you to all the lovely people who offered me support during a terrible time. Now for a few comments. Commenter 1 said it's a very good outcome for a boring, non-exciting update. He's someone else's problem now, and not having to pay him maintenance above all else is absolutely huge. Congratulations, OP. I hope you continue to heal and are surrounded by folks who love you and your daughter. Commenter 2 added, glad to hear you're doing well. May things only get better from here. Am I the idiot for refusing to reveal my baby's father and telling my gossiping friend to mind her own business? I'm female, 27. Having troubles answering people's questions about my pregnancy caused some drama with friends, all 20s. I'm 7 months pregnant with a child I plan on giving to a wonderful couple, closed adoption. I made this choice because the child was the product of non-consensual intimacy. I didn't press charges because I was a bit of a party girl and didn't think I would be believed. I honestly have no idea who the guy was. I just remember trying to push him off and being too drunk to do so. My choice to not press charges. My choice to keep the pregnancy. My choice to adopt out. I am comfortable with these choices. They are private and personal, and I am keeping most of this to myself. My friends and coworkers have turned it into a game. I was hiding the pregnancy until I started really showing a couple weeks ago. I get that people are curious about it, It's rather surprising. But I saw a betting pool being passed around the office. They are placing bets on who is the father. I was shocked and a little hurt. My friends are also curious. I have one close friend who basically knows everything. She's going to be in the room for the birth for me, and she's not telling anyone. So, rumors are starting. One terrible rumor is that it's my now former friend Karen's husband Troy's baby. Karen called me in tears. I went over to her house to tell her to her face it wasn't possible. She demanded to know the truth. I told her it was none of her business, and she blasted me on Facebook. Some friends have been really nice to my face, but everything gets back to me eventually. Some people are saying that I'm a paid surrogate. I guess that one is okay. I hate that people are talking about me like this. I made one blanket statement on Facebook yesterday. I guess I can't hide it anymore. Yes, I am pregnant. I am giving a lovely couple the child they have tried to have for years. It's very personal and private, and I ask that you all respect that. It's got a bunch of comments, but I haven't read them. I'm going to take a big break from social media. I don't know what else to do or say. I am uncomfortable with everyone's constant questions. I love my job and usually my coworkers. It's my hope that I can suck it up and go back to normal in a few months. Weirdly, I've got great inner peace with everything because I am so happy to be giving the adopting parents who are the kindest men I have ever met. A kindergarten teacher and a social worker, something they could never have on their own. Here's what I need from the readers of this sub. What can I say that isn't a lie but will shut people up without giving out information I'm not comfortable sharing? I don't like calling her, the baby is female, an accident. The two people who know the whole truth, my friend and my doctor, immediately asked me why I didn't report it. I'm ashamed and humiliated. I really don't want to say much of anything. I think a big part of why this is so hard for me and those around me is that I'm usually really talkative and social, loudmouthed. I'm in sales, so now that I'm showing, I'm also dealing with these questions from strangers too. Should I go to my manager about the pool? Laugh it off? Wait for it all to blow over? Thank you so much for all the support. I'm glad I posted this. I had a good cry, took an antacid or 4, and went to the owner Jim. I told him the truth, and I told him that I really didn't want the guys to know, and I needed the jokes and talk to stop because it was hurting me. He hugged me and told me he was proud of me, which made me cry again. Hormones. He gathered the staff and had a quick meeting. He announced that he would fire anyone who made me uncomfortable about my pregnancy on the spot and that all the money from the pool needed to end up on my desk, pronto. He was great. He didn't share any of my personal info, he just protected me and made it quick and easy. After we dispersed, he told me I could have an additional week paid medical. I already have 2 weeks sick vacation I haven't used. I am going to talk to my friend, and tell her she can subtly let people know what happened, especially Karen. This baby bump is sales gold. I just landed a big commission while sitting. I still think, as great as Jim is, I need to get out of this town. I'll always be a trailer park intimacy lover to people around here. My mama died when I was real young, and I acted out a lot after that. Everyone knows what I did and won't let me forget. Despite working my butt off to graduate, working my way up to sales lead, buying my home and fixing it up myself, I'm sick of Oklahoma. I'm thinking maybe somewhere in Oregon or Washington. Real pretty up there. Again, thank you for all the kind and helpful advice. I feel so much better. This has always been one of my favorite subs to lurk. Thanks. Now for a few important comments. A commenter said, "Your friends and colleagues are jerks. Tell people simply that you are not sharing details. Keep it simple. Sounds like you do have one decent, caring friend. After this was over, I would consider launching a fresh start. Given the circumstances of the pregnancy and how everybody is reacting, at least get some counseling to deal with this, and maybe plot out some goals and desires for the kind of life you really want. Sorry you've had such a bad experience." Then OP replied, "I am thinking about a new start, actually. I love my field, building material sales, and can do it anywhere. I don't have any family, and my house would sell for double what I owe. I've been researching towns that I've always liked." When asked why she chose not to reveal anything to her friends about her unplanned pregnancy, OP said, "I really don't want people knowing what happened to me." Like I said in my post, the first reaction was, "Why didn't you report it?" I hate that I didn't. I hate that some dude is out there thinking he can do that. I hate that I used to drink so much. I hate that because I used to drink a lot and hook up a lot that people think so little of me. I just don't want everyone to know. I don't want this little girl to ever find that out. When asked if OP reported the situation to HR, she said, "We're a smallish outfit. We don't have an HR. We have an owner-manager who I really respect and is kind of like a second father to me. We're 7 guys and me. I've always been one of the guys about this kind of stuff. I should go to the owner and tell him what's up. I've been avoiding him. I've been avoiding everyone. I don't want to be pitied, but this is worse. I'm all over the place, sorry. I'm shut in my office with the worst heartburn I have ever felt trying not to cry." When considering leaving her job, OP said, "I still have to work with these guys for another couple months, 40 to 50 hours a week. Maybe longer, I'm still deciding. They just got their PPs smacked by work daddy for being insensitive in a place where we regularly tease each other for everything. They did something stupid, but I still want to get along with them." Now for the 6-month update. First, I'd like to thank the kind, understanding folk in this sub for your help when I posted this a few months ago. I had a few PMs asking for updates and how everything went. It's been a wild ride. I'm posting this from a freezing but spectacular beachside hotel on the coast of Oregon. I had a job interview this morning that I feel really great about and 2 more lined up. My house sold fast and I have some money to live on and start fresh. And do I ever need a fresh start? A few days after I made that post, rumors started up again. I was pregnant with my boss's baby, some of you called that, and then it was a coworker's, and then my friend's husband again. To save face, I asked my friend to tell the right blabbermouths the truth. That backfired. Hard. Someone, or some people I don't know, started posting on Craigslist about me and the baby. There's this section called rants and raves, but I guess people just post garbage there. I looked at some of the posts and someone really has it out for me. They said I was crying rap because I was too slutty to know who the father was. They called me the worst names. I flagged what I could, but new posts kept popping up. I tried to ignore it. I had a good friend write me this long-ass text about how I was making it all worse with my rape story. I was devastated. I guess my prior life and reputation are all people there will ever think of me. I kept my head down and just tried to forget it all. It was affecting my work. I put my house up for sale and made a plan to GTFO. I was at 38 weeks and had resigned my position. My wonderful boss told me I could come back, but I don't want to. I was selling most of my belongings and packing what mattered to me. There's a knock on my door, real late, later than folks should be knocking. It was a man I kind of know from the bar scene. He was drunk and angry. He told me it was maybe his baby and I had no right to call it rap. I remember talking to him that night, but I really don't remember it being him. But I don't remember anything other than pushing him off and wishing I was stronger. I told him to go home and to leave me alone. I'm trying to be brief, but he made the next week hell for me. He was harassing me at my house every day and calling at all hours. He was threatening me and demanding a paternity test. I was terrified that he was going to mess up the adoption. I was growing more and more scared for my safety too. I couldn't sleep or eat. My friend came over and we called the police and told them everything. The officer who came to my house was great. I don't know what they said to him, but it worked and he left me alone. I went into labor the next week. I ended up getting a C-section because the baby had turned and was breech. One of her fathers ended up holding my hand. My friend was there, but only one was allowed in the room. He got to cut the cord. The baby was perfectly healthy and beautiful. She had this thick, dark hair and the chubbiest cheeks. Her fathers were instantly and madly in love. They took her home the next day. I had to stay a while because of the surgery. It was the hardest 3 days of my life. The hospital sent a therapist in and she was helpful. When I was released, I spent a few days in a luxury hotel with my dear friend. I never went home. I paid someone to pack my stuff for me. I spent the next 2 months at my grandmother's house in Texas. recovering and thinking and waiting for the cash from the sale of my house. I was terrified I would get a call that the man from the bar had somehow messed up the adoption. But it hasn't come, and I grew less worried. I honestly don't care who the father is. I just want the baby to have a good life. I continued to see another therapist. When I felt well enough, we packed my rig and I took off. There was a vague plan of heading west and finding it. I went to the Grand Canyon. I saw the Great White Sands. I spent an entire freezing day staring at the ocean in Santa Monica. I did the trip cheap, mostly sleeping in my car and cheap hotels. I spent time in every place that I found beauty. I landed here, at the prettiest place I've ever seen. I got a good rate at a motel and got an Oregon driver's license. I thought about changing my name too, but I don't want to change who I am, just the where. Wow, this ended up being a novel. Thanks again. Now for a few comments. When asked about moving out of town, starting fresh, and making new social media accounts, OP said, "Excellent advice. I used to love Facebook. I have cousins and such that I can only really contact through it. But I disabled my account during the Craigslist nonsense, and I don't miss it. I got a new phone number too, and only gave it to a few people I want to hear from. I was a little worried about no social media presence and getting a new job, but I'll cross that bridge if it comes up. I have a glowing recommendation from my old job and a proven record of success. That should be enough." Then another commenter mentioned, "Everyone here has been so nice. Not Oklahoma nice, that's just nosy nice. People here are chill and kind-hearted. The manager of the hotel I'm calling home at the moment, she just gives rooms to the homeless when it's cold. Doesn't make a big deal about it either. And the kids at the coffee shop I like are all real artsy and funny. I haven't met a mean or snarky person yet. I know I'm new, but it already feels like home in a way."